Welcome to Ocmaya, the Global Paradigm Expansion Project Guide. So this is a one-pager that I developed to show all the exhibitions that are going to be created and the structure. So how do these make sense? How do they build on each other? And why am I doing this? And also, who is this for? And well, let's begin with the first part, which is the small in a couple of sentences to understand that the Global Paradigm Expansion Project is here because we have an urgent need to expand our collective consciousness and transform our underlying assumptions, paradigms, and worldviews. And this is for the reason that we have immense global problems, and I want to create a foundation that shows where these problems originate, and obviously how we can generate some kind of change. So the aim is to challenge very entrenched beliefs, internalized beliefs. Currently I'm alone, but eventually, hopefully, in the near future, there will be more people that may be interested in it. But the aim is to challenge entrenched beliefs and perspectives that foster a deep understanding of the global challenges that I mentioned, that are confronted, that humans are confronted with in the entire world. And then one of the main ideas is to create social value through empowerment. So it's really important to understand that the idea is to generate a platform, a space that people can go there and think and be inspired to create, so that they can unleash their creative potential, right? So I'm going to go a bit more into detail because this sounds or is very broad. Yes, indeed. So this is the overall aim, but the very, very first point is to create a museum exhibition. And the idea of generating a museum exhibition has several points. One of them is typically in a museum, you want to go there and look at the pieces and think about, reflect, have a bit of time, stop to reflect about your experiences, your evaluation of how the world works, of what is aesthetic. I mean, obviously there are all kinds of different types of museums, but here it's to generate an knowledge of how the world works in a complex manner. Right, so this, I would say, is groundbreaking digital museum. So aims at elevating our understanding of our world and our place within it. So what do we impact? What are the impacts that we have throughout these paradigms? That they're aware, or that we are aware of them, and we are aware also that the world is extremely complex. So this, all of the pieces are curated. So obviously, some of the pieces will need to be expanded. Some of the pieces will maybe need to be thrown out in the future. But the first iteration aims to spark curiosity, to deepen the appreciation for the complexities that you find everywhere. So inside your body, in nature, in interplanetary galaxies, or intergalactic clusters, you have a lot of complexities that shows a lot of potential that we can learn from. So Ocmaya invites visitors on an immersive journey through 7 exhibition rooms. They each cover a facet of our world in terms of management, economic, and politics. I will go through all of the 7 in the floor plan. Mostly this is divided into 3 parts. First part is where what is the collective paradigm. So if we want to expand the paradigm, then we need to understand what is the paradigm. The second is what are the impact of the collective paradigm. And the third is the expansion. So how could we expand this action? And well, like I said, the idea is to create social value by making people aware of the sources of the problems. And overall, the museum exhibition should empower individuals to become active participants in shaping a more harmonious and sustainable future for humanity. So it wants to, like I said before, unleash the gigantic creative potential that humans have by specifically not creating solutions, but showing foundations. Now, I'm not going to go about and going and reading everything, right? So first, let me just show you the overall floor plan. So the 7 rooms, the first is introduction. Here, I have planned a total of 4 exhibition pieces. Just the first is a bit about me. So how did my experiences from the Global South impact my knowledge and my education in the Global North to actually create this, right? Based on my management and design thinking expertise mostly. Then about Ocmaya, so just essentially looking at the global outcomes, showing that there are many, many deficiencies from food insecurity to modern slavery to gigantic pollution, probable water shortages in the future, energy deficiencies, and so on and so forth. And this is going to be a special video, obviously, also about the USPs. Mostly, I don't show solutions. I want to expand the paradigm. And also, it's not about pointing fingers. It's not about giving blame to people. It's about generating challenges to the ideas, not or specific organizations or so. So this is just the raison d'être. Why does it exist, and why should it exist at all? And then the first part, the second room, is influence. So the influence is the idea of nature, nurture, and chance, which essentially shows how every individual is unique because of their influences that are both internal, external, and based on extreme complex events. Also showing most of the influence in management and politics and economics comes from ideas from Europe, that it's not necessarily something bad. It's just to show that it's possible to limit the collective paradigm influence into a small region of the world. And I just want to show you in different exhibition pieces how this is true. For example, in case of law traditions, or in case of economic views, or in case of central banks and macroeconomic measurements, and so on and so forth. So it's some examples. Then the influence across times and disciplines. So essentially showing you that many of the ideas that we hold dear today and we use today in our collective paradigm to make everyday decisions come from quite old, or are quite old, sometimes thousands of years old, specifically when we're dealing with science, technology, engineering, and math. So the ideas have been building up on each other, and some of them have been relatively stagnant. And what I mean with stagnant is they have been ingrained into our heads. So here, this is just a selection of many, many ideas, right? Not necessarily theories or models, but general ideas that you find in many, many different places, in many decisions that people make in specific organizations. And some examples are just the mechanic view that started with Isaac Newton, that is still very much present, although not explicitly, but very implicitly in probably 95% of the entire business education. We have also economies of scale, which is essentially the idea of producing in bulk to have lower cost of production and have a higher efficiency. And also, in a sense, a way to standardize and use division of labor and so on. So these are all different exhibition pieces by themselves that would show and explain how a factory would work. Right? And power, so this is a bit of politics, very, very important, specifically to me, to understand that the idea of power is very much ingrained as a type of influence, and in fact, it's defined as influence in many dictionaries. So this is just to show the whole or the wide variety of ideas that we have in terms of the paradigm. And the second part, which would be the fourth room, is to show the inefficiencies. So this is only a selection. Some of these inefficiencies include, for example, food insecurity. So there are a lot of obesity, and simultaneously worldwide there is a lot of food insecurity and famine. There is also a lot of food being wasted, and at the same time, food insecurity and famine. So there are many, many data points that can be used and that can be traced to specific political and economic ideas. So not purely economic, it's really a complex topic where the exhibition would show the mix of different ideas that would essentially maybe not directly cause, but certainly not help the food insecurity that is going around the world. Fast fashion, that's another great example. There is also going to be a small micro exhibition video. So not the entire exhibition about fast fashion, but just a very, very small video on that in the YouTube channel. And greenhouse effect and pollution. So this is also something very important, where you have trillions and trillions of dollars of cost coming to us, according to Deloitte, to 2070, where many of the ideas that we have from this ingrainment that I showed you before, from the third room, here from this one, that are going to impact all of these. Also the greenhouse effect and pollution. I just want to show you that there is also already an exhibition example. It deals with understanding economic inefficiency. So it's kind of like a base from which there will be several exhibitions or exhibition pieces in terms of the inefficiency that we have, right? Which as of now, it's expected to be about 10 pieces. Here I have a description of at least 3 pieces that need to be expanded, right? So it's only an example. The third part is the paradigm expansion. So it's the increase or increment, not of more production, not of more models or necessarily or more units. It's of more foundation. I mean, a bigger foundation. So the basis of this are just a selection of the logistic curve, showing that we have the ability in the more, let's say, contemporary science to understand that not all systems are stable over time, They can be stable, they can be chaotic, they can be, for us, unpredictable, and they can show growth, they can show diminishing, they can show essentially all kinds of possible outcomes, essentially stating the world is, for us, unpredictable at this point in time with our measurement tools and with our current stand of science. Furthermore, the idea of organic or chaotic, this idea just should show the nature of oscillations, for example. The idea that what we find in nature is way more complex than any of the economic or political structures that we have ever built, and it should show all of these points, including fractal dimensions. So here we have 25 exhibition pieces which show this very, very contemporary science. And also to understand the idea of experience, right? To understand that management has a choice of being more transaction-oriented or more relationship-oriented or experience-oriented or sales-oriented. And here it's essentially the experience orientation is one of the most complex ones, and the one that can allow much better integration of these into the global paradigm. So it's much better if you have an experience orientation, that you look at human beings as individuals, as complex human beings, and that they generate also individual creativity, for example. Then in the sixth room, it's initiation. So more or less a summary, if you will. So you have a linear kind of idea that I showed in the ingrainment. So that the ideas are ingrained in the specific decisions, mostly implicitly. And well, this should show you, this room should show you how to expand with 12 different exhibition pieces, how to expand by using both the established, right, using both these and adding these, and how to expand into these, right, which are the complex and nonlinear, not only into everyday work, but also into not only into organizations, but also nations and also individuals. So it's across all levels, so in a holistic manner, if you will. And finally, investment. It doesn't really provide examples as solutions in the three different fields. It essentially shows more expansions into understanding the potential. For example, in management, you can use fractal dimensions into structures to measure the complexity of the structure. So not only the way that strategy and structure works, or strategy and systems and so on. So essentially, it's the idea that you have a lot of possibilities to use these tools. So it's a selection of how you could expand, showing a specific impact that has a much higher efficiency, right? So that you don't have these inefficiencies that we showed in the fourth. In economics, it's just more or less how to use resources better and sharing state-of-the-art models, like, for example, in quantum economics or complexity economics, that shows new ways of looking at the world and looking at, for example, economic development that is not only institutionally based. So it's not only if you have a free media, that you will have some kind of economic development. It's a bit more complex. In this case, it shows a specific know-how on how this know-how could work to generate better production, right? And how this could be used to also solve the environmental paradigms that we have, or the challenges that we have, and also social challenges. And in politics, this is where I essentially use Hannah Arendt. Actually, I use Hannah Arendt for the principles and also the idea why this should exist. And so I try to use it everywhere. And expansion in politics essentially share Hannah Arendt with the world, show what the definition of power according to Hannah Arendt is, and how this could be used to have a much, much better outcomes in our world. Now, we can we'll have a small overview of all the 7 rooms. And as I said, it's 3 parts. First of all, how did we come to the collective paradigm? What is Ocmaya? Why is it important? What is the influence? Are we influenced? Can we be influenced? Where do these influences come from? And what is ingrained explicitly and implicitly in the majority of our decisions in the world? And these are going to be leading, or they will act as basis, so that we can see more complex situations that go beyond pure management or pure economics or pure politics into the inefficiencies, the global inefficiencies that include but are not limited to food insecurity, energetic inefficiency, as in this video has its focus, the greenhouse effect and pollution, in terms of the use of materials, for example, and within specific industries as examples to show how even modern contemporary methods are not necessarily something we should cheer. Then the paradigm expansion, essentially, what are the new, let's say, or the contemporary views of science that we need to understand first. Then initiation, so the way in which you can expand your paradigm from that which is, I call linear, which entails this more mechanic world, more linear, more predictable world, into something more complex. And then investment, just showing you possibilities, right? Examples of how you could use this in the 3 fields as to generate better outcomes that are more economic, socially, and environmentally acceptable than those that we have today. So that's the floor plan. In total, there are 90 exhibition pieces as of now. And like I told you, just a small example you can find here in the YouTube channel under the economic inefficiency. Just please search for it. And finally, who is this for? So this is a frequently asked question that I got. And the answer is everyone and anyone. The main idea is that the problems will only be solved more efficiently the more people that actually have a better paradigm that's closer to our complex reality than the existing paradigm. So essentially, anyone who makes decisions is target. However, I think those who may have a bit more of experiences in terms of agile and design thinking may profit a bit more, specifically to show that the actual potential of these is not being unleashed completely. So there will be many examples in specifically in this point, the expansions in management, which I call the non-elephant, the non-linear management principles. That's another story. But essentially, for any of the people who are, this was not locked. Essentially, for any of the people who are struggling with unleashing the potential of design thinking, and Agile will profit enormously. Furthermore, those who are interested overall in the application of complexity, so anyone genuinely curious about modern possible usage in management, economics, and politics will profit. So people that are already motivated, that may already know something about complexity or some kind of fractals or the so-called butterfly effect, that are interested in that, or just in non-causal determinism, oscillations, things like this, they would definitely profit. And probably for them, it's a bit better to understand and to inspire them to maybe create their own novel ideas, novel methodologies. And also NGOs, because NGOs, I think, would really profit in terms of having a specific base that completely can be differentiable from the existing management bases. So they can have better insights in how to co-create long-lasting outputs, and how to not fall into the specific game of just lobbying politicians or lobbying groups, but actually sharing a lot of novel ideas and sharing a lot of insights to as many people as they can, so to actually meet the goal, which, remember, is to unravel the global problems, right? The whole goal of Ocmaya. And well, that's the tour. Like I said, this is quite the endeavor. It's quite a big project. And I hope that this more or less explains the scope, the size, and the ambition of the project, who is it for, and the structure. And you can also find more of the actual origin, more videos of the origin. You can find more videos of the principles acted upon, and obviously you can subscribe to look for new exhibitions, as I will be putting exhibitions for free online in the YouTube channel. Thank you for listening.